a morning of exploration, jogging, DJI Neo, and Badwan Jin. Today, I decided to document my short morning run from home to Bishan Park. The weather was cool, as it often is this time of day, and I wanted to test not only my own endurance, but also the capability of my DJI Neo. It was going to be an interesting session of learning, movement, and a bit of play as I combined jogging, QiGong, and drone control, all in the tranquil surroundings of the park. As I left the house, I brought DJI Neo and the mobile, and off I went. The soft whir of its propellers hummed beside me as it hovered into flight, using facial and body tracking to stay by my side. This wasn't just a run, it was a dynamic training session with Neo, pushing the boundaries of what technology can do in enhancing fitness and self-awareness. The air was cool, but my heart warmed as my feet pounded rhythmically on the pavement leading to Bishan Park. Every time I jogged through this familiar route, there was a new sense of discovery, whether it was the quiet, the greenery, or simply being in tune with my surroundings. The smooth hum of DJI Neo's motor felt like a silent partner accompanying me, tracking my movements with precision. Neo's directional tracking followed every subtle gesture I made, whether a turn of the head, a slight lean of my shoulders, or the momentum of my strides. It wasn't just capturing video, it was responding to my very body language, learning with me as I moved. When I arrived at Bishan Park, I could already feel the strain of the morning run, but there was no hurry. I slowed my pace, taking in the sights and sounds, and let Neo land gracefully by my side for a quick break. I surveyed the familiar landscape around me, the lush greenery, the calm waters, and the people scattered throughout the park, each engaged in their own personal routines. Meeting the long-haired Guan Ming. As I took a short rest near one of the open fields of Bishan Park 1, I spotted a familiar figure. It was Guan Ming, the long-haired gentleman I often see practicing his martial arts. Every time I see him, he's practicing movements I have yet to fully understand, but they exude precision and intent. I always stop to observe him for a few moments, inspired by his dedication. Today, we exchanged nods and he came over to chat. Guan Ming's journey is a fascinating one. For the past 7 years, he has devoted himself to developing a martial art technique designed to enhance health and internal organ function. What's particularly inspiring about Guan Ming is that he didn't learn this from anyone. He invented it. After years of research, experimentation, and practice, he developed a system divided into 5 distinct parts, each focused on a different aspect of health. As someone deeply invested in understanding the body and how movement can heal, I find his persistence remarkable. Despite facing health challenges, he continues to train every morning, using his practice not just as a way to move, but as a form of self-healing. His endurance and persistence command respect, and I often draw motivation from watching him. After a brief conversation about his latest progress, we parted ways, and I moved on to find a quieter area in the park for my own session. The grass cutters were out in full force today, trimming the landscape, their machines filling the air with the harsh scent of petrol. To avoid the noise and fumes, I shifted to a quieter corner of the park, away from the hustle and bustle. With a clear space in sight, it was time for the next part of my routine, setting up DJI Neo for some QiGong practice and training with its advanced tracking features. I activated Neo's circling mode, letting it orbit around me as I prepared for Badwan Jin, a traditional Chinese QiGong exercise that I've found both calming and energizing. The 8 movements of Ba Duan Jin are designed to promote health, balance, and the proper flow of qi through the body, making it a perfect complement to my more vigorous jogging sessions. As I moved through the familiar stretches and poses, Neo's camera followed every motion, capturing the gentle rise and fall of my arms, the shifting of my weight from one foot to the other, and the controlled breathing that accompanied each movement. The beauty of combining ancient QiGong with modern drone technology struck me then, one rooted in thousands of years of tradition, the other cutting edge, yet the two in perfect harmony. This wasn't just about practicing QiGong, it was about pushing myself to incorporate technology as a part of my self-care routine, letting Neo track my form, my posture, and even the fluidity of my movements. With every stretch and pose, I became more conscious of how I moved, refining my practice under Neo's digital gaze. Playful control, body tracking with DJI Neo. After finishing my Badwan Jin, I couldn't resist experimenting further with DJI Neo. Having spent time on more formal training, it was time for some fun. I set Neo to directional tracking mode, keeping it on medium and low altitude settings. I've always found this aspect of Neo fascinating. It responds to body language, head movements, and even the slightest gestures to determine its flight path. With Neo hovering near me, I began to jog again, this time weaving through the park's trees and pathways, testing how well I could control the drone without touching the remote. I leaned forward, subtly indicating the direction I wanted to go, and watched as Neo seamlessly adjusted its flight to follow. When I slowed my pace or shifted left, it responded instantly. It wasn't just following me, it was moving in tandem with me, like an extension of my own body. There's something exhilarating about controlling a drone using nothing more than body movement. It requires focus, presence, and a deep understanding of how your own body moves. This was no longer just a technical experiment. It had become an intuitive dance between myself and the machine. I weaved in and out of trees, guiding Neo between the branches, letting it glide just above the ground, and then ascend as I picked up speed. This kind of training with Neo was more than just a way to capture video. It was a lesson in mindfulness. Every movement I made had to be deliberate. Even a slight shift in posture could send Neo in a different direction. So I had to be fully aware of how I was running, how I was holding myself, and how I was breathing. It reminded me of the focus required in martial arts or Qigong, where every movement is purposeful and controlled. The conclusion of my session. After an hour of running, Qigong, and playful drone training, I found myself at the northwestern end of Bishan Park 1, drenched in sweat, but feeling alive. My body had worked hard, my mind had stayed sharp, and DJI Neo had proven to be an incredible companion throughout the morning's journey. I slowed to a walk, letting my heart rate gradually come down as I made my way back across the park, the cool air of the post-rain morning filling my lungs. The slow walk afterward was the perfect way to cool down. My muscles felt loose, my mind was calm, and the hum of Neo quietly landing beside me marked the end of a fulfilling training session. As I looked around, taking in the quiet beauty of the park, I couldn't help but reflect on the uniqueness of this experience. Combining fitness, mindfulness, and cutting-edge technology had made for a truly rewarding morning. It wasn't just about jogging or flying a drone. It was about finding new ways to move, to learn, and to connect with the world around me. For those who may hesitate to try something new, whether it's jogging, QiGong, or experimenting with technology like DJI Neo, I encourage you to take that step. Sometimes the best experiences come from pushing yourself beyond the usual routine and discovering how modern tools can enhance even the simplest activities. From the quiet practice of Ba Duan Jin to the playful weaving between trees with a drone, the possibilities are endless. Below, you'll find some of the videos I captured with DJI Neo today. Enjoy the glimpses of Bishan Park through its eyes, and maybe, just maybe, you'll feel inspired to try something new as well.